Tonight, we are tracking an escalation from the January 6th committee. This was breaking late today. It involves Trump White House vet Peter Navarro, who was so vocal about trying to overthrow the election that many legal experts said he opened himself up to a potential formal subpoena, though he recently told us he had not at the time gotten one.
Here they are poised to probably subpoena Jordan, Perry, Navarro.
Congratulations, Peter Navarro. I think you've just earned yourself a subpoena.
Will his be the next subpoena to drop from the January 6th Select Committee?
Has the House probe requested your cooperation?
No.
No. And that no came about 2 weeks ago. Navarro's admissions about trying to overthrow the election came about 4 weeks ago, right here on the beat. The news tonight is the January 6th committee just subpoenaed Navarro, pressing him to go under oath about his confessed plot. This committee's new letter asked Navarro to come in, provide evidence and testimony about his work with Steve Bannon, these plots to challenge the election, what they called this Green Bay sweep or a coup, which he outlined, among other things that the committee wants to know. That sweep or coup is the centerpiece of the failed Navarro-Bannon plot to create doubt about the results, what he told us about. They wanted to try to use that to compel Vice President Pence to then claim that Pence could somehow stop the finalizing of Trump's loss, which was lawful and complete. Under questioning, Navarro cast that effort to end democracy as a kind of a optional end run that he could focus on 6 states where Trump lost.
We had over 100 congressmen and senators on Capitol Hill ready to implement the sweep. We were going to challenge the results of the election in the 6 battleground states. Most or all of those states would decertify the election. That would throw the election to the House of Representatives. The election was still in doubt. We were following the Constitution and rules of the Senate to simply get a recount of what the votes were.
Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No.
That was just part of the admissions Navarro has made, both in that interview and in public. This new subpoena here, which is out tonight, demands that he testify about the claim that over 100 members of Congress were in on it and that Trump was on board. The committee wants documents by February 23rd and a deposition on March 2nd. And these are escalations in the probe of a multifaceted plot to steal the election. Let's be clear. Bannon, now indicted, and Navarro, now under subpoena, they call it a sweep. Other experts see a coup. Now, will Navarro comply or resist, risking more legal jeopardy? Well, I'll show you this. We'll put this back up on the screen because the committee in the new letter here accompanying the subpoena notes he has not been shy in detailing his efforts. Quote, "You've already discussed these issues in interviews with reporters. We look forward to discussing them with you, too." And there you have it. That is as close to shade as a formal congressional investigation gets. And they are saying something that many people have noticed. The plotting, the efforts to both lie about the outcome, to get others to lie about it in potentially criminal ways, and to overthrow the election in the past is not something that has remained a secret or a plot. It has more looked like an advertisement, and that is dangerous for many reasons, including whether it is a dry run to normalize this in a more effective way in the future. Now, we have more of a breakdown here because, as you may have noticed, the beat has been all over this story. We're going to get into it. But first, I want to bring in, for immediate breaking news reaction, former federal prosecutors Joyce Vance and John Flannery, and journalist Josh Marshall. John, your reaction to this development?
I think it's a big development, because what we do is we have a man making such admissions in a book, a Rolling Stone interview, and you really closed the case on him when you got him basically to say, this is how we were going to do it. And you just said, well, that's a coup. And it was because of 2 particular reasons. One is they talk about law that is not law, and they talk about facts that are not facts, meaning that there are states, including the battleground states, that have any objection at all to the electors that were chosen. And what they hoped to do was to, I think, cause the disturbance, the physical and violent disturbance, but at the same time to have a series of votes on supposed states that had reservations and make each of those a 4-hour extravaganza. So there'd be 24 hours. And then I think they hope by exhaustion they could send it back to the states that would either certify or decertify. Their plan was they would force the people to decertify, they'd bring it back,
Right.
and then they would steal the election. Sorry to go on so long, but that was, I think, their plot. And the Green Bay sweep was to wipe it across, to have all these 100 senators and representatives in on the deal. So each of them is exposed to criminal obligations. The real question is, will the Justice Department do something about it? Because they've been sleepy before.